Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Apex Investor. This is the Q4 results for Metamaterials we're going to be reading. It was just released just a short while ago. So we're going to try to read this to you and present it to you as easy as possible for your listening pleasure. So we begin here. Metamaterials announces Q4 and FY 2021 results. Metamaterials, a developer of high-performance functional materials and nanocomposites, today announced fourth quarter and FY financial year 2021 results. Please visit the investors section of our website to view the shareholder letter and annual report. And they are going to host a webcast on Wednesday, March the 2nd at 11 a.m. So a lot of people are under the false assumption that the Q4 has not been released and will be released in the morning. It's already released. So I'm probably one of the first people posting about this and covering it. The 2021 financial statements and the associated management discussion and analysis for the year ended December the 31st are available on the investor section. That's where I found this. So here we go. Let's get right into it. In 2021, total revenue grew 264% to $4.082 million compared to $1.1 million in 2020. So wow, 264% increase, ladies and gentlemen. I've been saying I'm so bullish in this company, and this is exactly why. These quarterly reports are going to be the catalyst to move the stock to the moon. In Q4 2021, total revenue of $2.2 million compared to $273,000 in Q4 2020 reflects a contribution of approximately $1.8 million from the acquisition of Nanotech Security Corp, which closed on October the 5th, 2021. The 2021 net loss was $90 million, which includes a one-time non-cash loss of $40 million on financial instruments, or 0.39 cents per share on 232 million weighted average shares, compared to a net loss of 11.6 million or 0.08 cents per share on 137 weighted average shares in 2020. So it seems the net loss was 90 million, which is a greater loss compared to last year. So that is not good news. For Q4 2021, the net loss was 29.5 million or 0.13 cents per share on 232 million weighted average shares, compared to a loss of 5.7 million or 0.04 cents per share on 137 weighted average shares. Okay, so I'm trying to interpret this data. So this is the net loss for the year. So the loss for the year seems to be a greater loss, but that, let me explain why that is. It's because when they're investing in buying nanotech, when they're making acquisitions, that costs money. It's called growing pains. It's where you invest. You're starting up. There's going to be growing pains. So expect this to turn around in the long term, because this is where they're putting investments into building a foundation, and then you're going to see them reap the rewards of that investment later on. That's the hope. Okay, net cash used in operating activities during the year ended on December 31st. It was $34.7 million compared to $7.9 million in 2020. So they've grown significantly, almost 5 times as much. In 2021, capital expenditures for purchases of property, plant, and equipment and intangible assets totaled $12.7 million. Cash used for the acquisition of Nanotech Security Corp, as I mentioned earlier, was approximately $66.1 million. So that's where a lot of the debt seems to be. Net of cash acquired. Proceeds from the RTO of Torchlight Energy resources were approximately 146.9 million. As of December 31st, cash and cash equivalents totaled approximately $50.3 million, including about $0.8 million in restricted cash and $2.8 million in short-term investments. The company has no debt. Let me repeat that. The company has no debt. That's one of the best news we can read from this Q4. Except, here's a caveat. Except for approximately $3.2 million in various interest-free loans from ACOA. So there is no debt, but there's a kind of fine print there. 3.2 million is the only kind of other forms of debt. It's not an official debt, but it's a loan. And common shares outstanding were 284 million shares. So does that mean that these shares are not accounted for? No one owns them? I'm not sure. Okay, so I think that's it. Yeah, that's all for this. Oh, okay, there's more at the bottom here. Consolidated balance sheets, and you could see everything being compared. All the numbers are crunched. So that number they gave was 3.2 million. So I'm looking for a number of 3.2 million somewhere here. Okay, total current assets, $131 million, and then 2.7 in the previous year. Goodwill, okay, a lot of goodwill going their way, 240 million. Total assets, $434 million, compared to only 10 million last year from the previous financial FY financial year report. That is an incredible growth. I'm surprised they didn't mention that, but you just have to read it for yourself and investigate. That's what we're doing here. Liabilities. Okay, so they have their liabilities also came up, also increased. So let's look at the total assets and see how much it grew. It looks like it grew about 40 times as much, at least 40 times as much. Whereas here, this seems to have grown not 40 times as much, but only about 8 times. That makes sense. I think it's about 8 times as much. So that's a good thing, where your assets are growing at a greater ratio compared to the debt or liabilities. So that's showing that what they're doing is working. This is showing that Metamaterials, what they're doing is working, and they're going to be a profitable company in the near to long term. Actually, total liabilities. Okay, I have to look at the total liabilities. So 19 million versus 99 million dollars for this current year. So that increased by about five times, whereas the assets grew over 40 times. Okay, stockholders' equity deficit. Looks like, yeah, that grew as well, because again, they are publicly traded. So that just makes sense. Consolidated statements. We can see operating expenses, okay, gross profit, operating expenses as well. Yeah, that increased, as they mentioned in the report. Okay, I'm trying to interpret this a little bit. Comprehensive loss. Yeah, so I think they summed it up in their statement there. But I'm just going to finish scrolling down here. Consolidated statement of cash flows. Net cash used in operating activity. So their net cash being used to operate is almost 5 times as much, or 7.9. So it's about 8 roughly. So 8 times 4, so it's just over 4 times as much. So that is part of your investing in yourself to grow. Net cash provided by investing activities. So you can see that they've reaped a lot, from 2.4 million to 65 million as a result of their investments. Net cash provided by their financing activities, 15 million versus 6 million in the previous year. Net increase in cash. So they started with 1.4 million last year. They have 47.4 million. Can you imagine if you're just looking at your paycheck and for your gross income for the year was 1.4 million, you'd say you're doing well for yourself. I mean, as a corporation, that's the number you would make, but now they're making 47.4 million this year. That's a massive increase. And they haven't even gotten started yet. I mean, they've gotten started, but not in a major way. So I think that's it for this Q4 report. Thank you very much for your time. Please give this a video a like if you appreciated this audio format for the Q4 report. And thank you very much. Please subscribe to this channel. Our goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers, and we're well on our way. We're about halfway there, but we still need a bit of a push. We want to spread the word on this great company, Meta Materials, and not only just to promote them as a company that is beneficial to mankind and will benefit the world, but to also get more investors involved, because they will reap the rewards. People will make a lot of money from this company by buying their stock at this dirt cheap price of even at $2. It just broke resistance today of $2 for a long time. It's been under $2, and it looks like the tide may have turned. So it's important to spread the word on this stock, and that's what we're trying to do here on this channel, and many other YouTube channels are doing a similar thing. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for your time, and may God bless you all, and God bless your investments.